So Kevin Hart's new restaurant, Hart House, is not any healthier, nutritionally speaking, than McDonald's restaurant. Now, in this episode of Is It Healthy for Us or Is It Just Good Marketing, I'm going over Kevin Hart's new restaurant, Hart House, and looking at the nutrition information, and I compared it to McDonald's. Now, full disclosure, I do not want this to be like a hate video on Kevin Hart. I really like Kevin Hart. I love his comedy. I like his movies. I'm like a total supporter. You know, whenever he puts anything out, he always makes me laugh. So I was excited to like learn that he has this new restaurant, Hart House. And I was also curious to see if nutritionally it's healthier than other restaurants in the market. Now, it is a fast food restaurant, right? And I'm not saying that they are making claims that they're the healthiest restaurant, but Hart House is a plant-based restaurant. And I think the word plant-based carries a lot of weight. I feel that if people hear the word plant-based, they automatically think, oh, it's healthier than McDonald's, or it's healthier than, whatever restaurant you want to pick, because it's plant-based, because it's the idea that either meat is not good for us or that consuming more plants, more fruits and vegetables is better for us. So let's just look at the nutrition information, which I can just summarize by telling you that nutritionally, Kevin Hart's restaurant, Hart House, is not any better than McDonald's, and sometimes it's worse. So let's start with one of the claims that they make in their website. So they do claim to have no cholesterol in their food products, which is a good thing, right? Because for some individuals, not everyone, but for some individuals, when they consume cholesterol, that increases their blood cholesterol, which increases the risk of heart disease. So that's a good thing. But their burgers are still high in saturated fat. So when I look at the single burger with cheese, it's actually higher in saturated fat than McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese. So I looked at the McDonald's menu and I tried to pick the burger to best compare with Kevin Hart's Hart House burger. So again, the single burger with cheese is higher in saturated fat. And this is interesting for two reasons. One is, like cholesterol, saturated fat can also increase your blood cholesterol, which then, increases your risk of heart disease. So although, yes, you don't have cholesterol in your burgers, but you have saturated fat. And for some people would argue that saturated fat is actually worse than cholesterol. So, it's not actually helping for heart health. And it's also interesting that this is a plant-based restaurant, and saturated fat is mostly going to be found in animal protein. So if you eat a beef patty that has saturated fat, it's an animal protein, butter and bacon, that has saturated fat. So you wouldn't expect it in this plant-based restaurant. Maybe you wouldn't even think about it because you think plant-based is based off of plants, and plants don't have saturated fat. But this burger does. So where is the saturated fat coming from? Well, I looked at their nutrition information, which is available on their website if you want to check it out. And they do mention that they use coconut fat. So in addition to saturated fat being in animal products, saturated fat is also found in coconut fat or coconut oil, and it's found in pretty high amounts. So 1 tablespoon of coconut oil has 13 grams of saturated fat, which is pretty high. So this may be where the saturated fat is coming from in their single burger with cheese. Maybe this is a total speculation because Kevin Hart's restaurant, Hart House, doesn't actually list the ingredients that they use to make their food items in their menu. They don't list them, which I kind of have to give props to McDonald's, because McDonald's does list their ingredients. Now, this doesn't mean that McDonald's has good ingredients. The ingredients are not good at all, but at least they list them. So you can go check out exactly what you're eating because it's listed on their website. Hart House, Kevin Hart's restaurant, doesn't do this. So I'm just kind of speculating that maybe if they are using coconut, fat, maybe that's where the saturated fat is coming from. I don't know. But either way, this is still kind of a hot topic because it's still saturated fat. There is a hot debate in nutrition whether saturated fat coming from coconut oil is better for us, whether it doesn't increase blood cholesterol. But there is a group of, people that do think that saturated fat, regardless of the source, is still going to increase our blood cholesterol, which is not good for heart health. So, the verdict's still out. We don't know. But the American Heart Association still recommends to keep saturated fat intake to about 10% of total calories per day. So depending on how many calories you eat per day, if you were to consume this single burger with cheese, you would have already, gone over this limit. Alrighty, so moving on to topic number 2. In their website, Kevin Hart's restaurant, Hart House, says they don't use any corn syrup. Now, this is actually pretty awesome because corn syrup is sugar, basically. So it's great that they don't use corn syrup. But one of the things that I kind of thought about immediately was, well, do you then use high fructose corn syrup? Because corn syrup is one thing and high fructose corn syrup is another thing. They're two different ingredients. And one of the reasons why I thought about this is because food companies usually like to tell us what they don't use if we perceive that ingredient as bad, because then we'll feel better about their food and, we might purchase their food or eat more of their food. So I just kind of thought, well, if they are not using high fructose corn syrup, they would probably tell us. It would probably be on their website, but it's not. So they may not be using corn syrup, but maybe they're using high fructose corn syrup. Again, I don't know. This is just a question that I have, because I think they would have told us if they don't use it. And also because when I was looking at McDonald's menu, McDonald's uses corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup in their ketchup and sauces. So it just kind of made me think, well, is Hart House, Kevin Hart's restaurant, using high fructose corn syrup in the ketchup or the sauces? We don't know, again, because they don't list their ingredients. So these are just questions and speculations. But I wish they would share the ingredients. That way there would be more transparency in terms of what we're eating. I think we kind of have a right to know. Alrighty, so topic number 3 is a deluxe crispy chicken at Kevin Hart's restaurant, Hart House. So Kevin Hart's crispy chicken is higher in both sodium and carbohydrates when compared to McDonald's deluxe chicken sandwich. So it has more carbs and it has more sodium. So the deluxe crispy chicken has 75 grams of carbohydrate. 75 grams. So for those of you guys who don't know, 75 grams is a lot. Especially for people who have pre-diabetes or diabetes. Some of those individuals try to limit their total carb intake to 75 grams per day. But this burger has 75 grams in one little burger, and it looks good. I mean, I'll put the picture up. It doesn't look like it would have this much carbohydrate, but it does. So it just kind of makes me think about somebody who wants to do better and chooses a plant-based restaurant and chooses a deluxe crispy chicken sandwich or chicken burger because they feel like it might be healthier. And in their mind, they think chicken is healthier, even though this isn't even chicken. It's plant-based, so it's not, chicken. But it has a bunch of, a high amount of carbohydrate that may spike blood sugar. So not healthy for us. And it's also high in sodium. So it has 1,511 milligrams of sodium, which is high. If you're somebody who has high blood pressure, the American Heart Association recommends that you limit your sodium intake to 1,500 milligrams a day. So if you were to consume this burger, you already went over that limit for your day in just the burger. If you got fries or, something else with it, that you have to add that to the burger. Again, so just kind of sharing this because I do feel bad for people who are trying to eat healthier and they just feel just because it's plant-based, it's going to be healthier nutritionally. And that's not always the case, as we're seeing by, looking at this nutrition information. All right, so topic number 4, chicken nuggets and shakes. So the chicken nuggets at Kevin Hart's Hart House restaurant has twice the amount of sodium and twice the amount of carbohydrates than McDonald's chicken McNuggets. Now, I'm not like a McDonald's person. Like, I don't go to McDonald's because I don't like all of the ingredients they use in their food. So don't think that I like McDonald's. I don't. But nutritionally speaking, the Kevin Hart's chicken nuggets, which aren't real chicken nuggets, they have more salt and they have more carbohydrates. So, okay, it doesn't make sense because McDonald's chicken McNuggets have chicken and that has protein and it's going to have less carbohydrates. Kevin Hart's chicken McNuggets, or I'm sorry, they're not chicken McNuggets, but Kevin Hart's nuggets, chicken nuggets, have more carbohydrate because they're plant-based, right? They're plant-based is basically they're carbs. But it has more sodium too. So I don't know, it kind of makes me think about like, are you adding more sodium because they just don't taste good? So you kind of have to mask the taste. I don't know. But at the end of the day, nutritionally speaking, they have higher sodium and higher carbs than the chicken McNuggets. And I also looked at the strawberry shake. Now, we all know that like strawberry shakes are not a health food. Like I know you know that and I know that. But I was just kind of curious to see how much sugar does their shake have? Because one of the things that they have on their website is that the shake is made with like plant-based ingredients, which again, I think is just sort of like a marketing thing. Because if you see like plant-based, you may think that somehow that shake is healthier for you, but it's really not. It still has a ton of sugar. So the large strawberry shake at Kevin Hart's restaurant, Hart House, has 97 grams of sugar. 97. That is high. That is equal to 24 teaspoons of sugar. So if you have a little teaspoon and you go like this 24 times, that's the amount of sugar that's in this strawberry shake. So just to give you an idea, the limit for women in terms of sugar is 6 teaspoons a day. For men is 9 teaspoons a day. So this is not 3 times, but this is like super high. More than anybody should be consuming. And, you know, again, we all know that shakes are not health foods, but maybe you didn't know like how much sugar was actually in this shake. So, you know, total blood sugar spike. Okay, so I want to close this up with some positive thoughts because I don't want it to be just like a negative video, and I hope it doesn't come off as a negative video. This is just how I look at as a nutrition professional. Like I can't turn that off. So as a consumer, I'm always like assessing things. And this is how I kind of looked at it. So I just shared it with you. But here's some positive things. In their website, they do state, the Kevin Hart House, that they use no antibiotics, no hormones, and no trans fat. So that's good because obviously nobody wants antibiotics or hormones or trans fat in their food. You know, it's not good for us. But again, my mind also goes to, because I'm like trying to be so aware of like just like food marketing and how much that influences like choices. This is a plant-based restaurant, meaning they don't use animal products, meaning there shouldn't be any hormones. There shouldn't be any antibiotics in their foods because hormones and antibiotics are typically used in animal foods. Like you don't hear about lettuce or tomato having antibiotics or hormones. It's animal products. So in a way, it's kind of like a given because you're a plant-based restaurant, like you shouldn't have these things. But again, maybe they chose to be a plant-based restaurant because they didn't want any hormones or antibiotics, even though you can also have no hormones or antibiotics in animal, you know, products. Anyways, but that's cool. I want to stay positive. And also they don't, in their website, they state no preservatives and no artificial colors, which I think is a big win because a lot of our foods, not only in like restaurants or like fast food places, but like at the grocery store, have preservatives and have food colorings. And I think that people get confused because you may think that, well, it's in my food, so it shouldn't be bad for me or it's not going to hurt me. But what we need to know is that these ingredients have been tested for like toxicity to make sure that they don't kill us or they don't cause cancer and things like that. But they haven't been tested for how they affect our metabolic health. We have no idea how preservatives or artificial colors affect our metabolic health, meaning our blood pressure, our blood sugar, our cholesterol, and our weight. So I do think that it's really cool that they're not using any preservatives or artificial colors. And I hope this was a useful video. So overall, even though the ingredients may be better quality, when we look at the nutrition breakdown of Kevin Hart's restaurant Hart House, it doesn't seem to be any better than McDonald's restaurant.